The issue: love after 60. 5 sis that will make any woman sleep with you, not what you think. If you think women lose desire for older men, you're wrong. Women crave one thing they can only get from a mature man: emotional steadiness. And when you show her these skills, a woman will feel a hunger she hasn't felt in years. Not for a boy, not for a fantasy, but for you. The issue: and that's when intimacy stops being a challenge and becomes her idea. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Vernon again. In today's video, I'll share the 5 skills that naturally make any woman want to move closer, trust you more, and open the door to intimacy. If you want more honest advice about love, dating, and relationships after 60, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel right now. Because what I'm about to share will challenge everything you thought you knew about female attract psychology. Let's begin with the quiet shift inside you that women feel long before you ever touch or speak. Q-1. When master your inner drive. Most men after 60 think their sexual energy is fading. That desire weakens with age, but that's not true. What weakens is discipline. What fades is control. Issue: a man who controls his impulses, his desires, his attention, when instead of chasing validation from women, radiates calm power that women sense instantly in your posture, in your voice, in the way you don't need approval. Here's what most men get wrong about masculine energy mastery. You think attraction comes from pursuing her, complimenting her, showing interest constantly, but that behavior communicates desperation, not desire. Issue: when you master your inner drive, something profound happens. You stop leaking energy toward her. You stop seeking her validation. And suddenly she becomes curious about why you're different from every other man who's ever wanted something from her. Issue: I remember a conversation with a colleague at 62 who complained that his wife had lost all interest in intimacy. I asked him one question: when was the last time you said no to her? He looked confused, so I explained: a man who never says no, who always agrees, who constantly seeks approval, because women are hardwired to feel attraction toward men who have a direction, a purpose, something more important than her mood. The next week he told me she had initiated intimacy for the first time in months, not because he used some seduction strategy skills, but because he had started living like a man with standards again. Desire flows toward discipline, not desperation. When was the last time you said no to something because it didn't align with your purpose? Share your experience in the comments below, because this conversation will help every man here understand the power of inner strength development. The issue: and once you reclaim that inner discipline, something deeper begins to shift. A shift she feels long before she understands it. #2. Master your emotions. When a woman teases you, challenges your decisions, or tests your patience, let your response in that moment reveals everything about your masculine frame power. Most men after 60 react with defensiveness, frustration, or worse. They try to explain themselves, justify their choices, prove they're right, and in doing so they hand over all their power to her emotional state. Emotional mastery for men means this: you feel everything, but you're controlled by nothing. The issue: I'll tell you a story about my own wife that changed how I understood emotional control training. Early in our marriage, she came home upset about something at work and snapped at me over a minor thing. The dishes. I think the old Vernon would have snapped back, defended himself, turned it into an argument. But that evening I just looked at her calmly, didn't react, didn't defend, didn't attack. I simply said, "I can see you're upset, and I'm here when you're ready to talk." Then I went back to what I was doing. The issue: she stood there for a moment, clearly expecting a fight. But when she realized I wasn't going to engage in her emotional storm, something shifted. That she softened, apologized within minutes, and later told me she felt safer with me than she ever had before. That's the power of emotional steadiness. Women don't want you to fix their emotions, don't want you to argue with their feelings, don't even want you to agree with them all the time. What women desire triggers on a subconscious level is a man who remains grounded when everything around him is chaos. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That kind of emotional steadiness creates a space around you that women can feel instantly, and it prepares the ground for a different kind of strength. The issue has 3. Live with ruthless discipline. Discipline creates structure. Structure creates stability, and stability creates desire. Women fall for the life a disciplined man builds around himself, not for the words he says or promises he makes. Think about this. When a woman sees you wake up at the same time every morning, maintain your health without excuses, keep your word without exception, pursue your purpose without distraction, when she doesn't just respect you, she feels a magnetic pull toward the order you've created in your world. Most men after 60 have let discipline slip because retirement feels like permission to drift, to relax standards, to stop building. But that's exactly when you become invisible to feminine attraction, because women are biologically wired to desire men who are moving somewhere, building something, becoming someone. Discipline isn't about being rigid or joyless. It's about being reliable, being consistent, being the kind of man whose presence itself creates a sense of security. Here's what happens when you rebuild discipline after 60. Your body changes because you're moving with purpose. Your mind sharpens because you're challenging it daily. Your time becomes valuable because you're no longer giving it away to distraction. And women notice all of this before you even open your mouth. A woman can sense within minutes whether a man has structure in his life or chaos, whether he's the architect of his days or the victim of them. And that distinction determines whether she sees you as a potential partner or just another lonely man looking for someone to fill the emptiness. The men who maintain discipline after 60 aren't doing it to impress women. They're doing it because they understand that self-respect is the foundation of all respect. And when you respect yourself enough to honor your commitments, maintain your standards, and build something meaningful with your remaining years, women feel that energy and want to be part of the world you're creating. This is why discipline and purpose are inseparable from masculine frame power. A man without discipline is a man without direction, and a man without direction cannot lead, cannot protect, cannot create the stability that awakens feminine desire. If this resonates with you, share this video with your friends and groups, because too many men after 60 have forgotten that discipline is what makes a high-value man irresistible, and they need this wake-up call. A life built on discipline naturally shapes the way you move through the world, and that shift leads to an even deeper form of attraction. The issue has 4. Speak with weight and precision. A man who speaks less, slower, and with intention becomes magnetic in ways that constant talkers will never understand. And because silence builds tension, words reveal integrity, and presence becomes power. Most men after 60 make the mistake of filling every silence with words, explaining everything, oversharing their thoughts, trying to impress her with stories and knowledge, but that behavior communicates insecurity, not confidence. When you master confident communication habits, you realize that every word you speak either adds to your masculine energy or drains it away. There is no neutral ground. I think my cousin Arthur, a man who barely speaks but commands every room he enters at a family gathering, a woman asked him about his career. Most men would have launched into a long story, but Arthur simply said, "I built things people needed, and now I teach others to do the same." Then he went silent. The woman leaned in, asked another question, then another, when she spent the next hour trying to pull more out of him. And by the end of the night, she told my wife, "There's something about Arthur I can't stop thinking about." That's the power of nonverbal attraction cues combined with precise speech. When you stop filling silence with nervous words, women start filling it with curiosity about you. Blaise Pascal once wrote, All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And I'd add that most men's dating problems stem from their inability to sit quietly in a conversation and let tension build. Speak when your words add value, stay silent when they don't, and watch how women start leaning toward you instead of pulling away. Once your words carry that kind of presence, something else begins to rise to the surface, something far more primal. The issue, #5. Master the power of presence. Presence is primal. It's energetic. It's the reason some men walk into a room and everyone notices while others fade into the background. And it has nothing to do with looks, wealth, or status. A man who moves calmly, owns his space, and stays grounded awakens feminine desire on a subconscious level, because women are hardwired to feel attraction toward men who embody calm, confident energy in their body language and movement. Most men after 60 have lost their presence because the world told them to shrink, to apologize for taking up space, to defer to everyone else's comfort. But that's exactly what kills attraction, because a man without presence is a man without power. Presence means this: when you sit, you fully occupy the chair. You don't fidget, don't check your phone, don't scan the room for approval. When you speak, your voice comes from your chest, not your throat. When you walk, you move like you own the ground beneath your feet. The difference between a man with presence and a man without it comes down to one thing: awareness of your own body and the space it occupies. Most men move through the world unconsciously. Hunched shoulders broadcasting defeat, rushed steps communicating anxiety, wandering eyes signaling insecurity. And women read all of these nonverbal attraction cues instantly, often before a single word is spoken. When you master grounded masculine presence, your body becomes a statement of confidence without arrogance, strength without aggression, certainty without rigidity. And this energetic signature is what triggers psychological inference, skills that bypass her logical mind and speak directly to her instincts. Think about the men you've known who had this quality. They didn't need to dominate conversations, didn't need to prove anything, didn't need constant validation. Their mere existence in a space changed the atmosphere, because presence is about energy, not performance. This is why so many men fail at attraction after 60, despite having everything else figured out. They've mastered their careers, their finances, their hobbies, but they've never learned to simply be in their masculine energy without apology, without hesitation, without the need to explain themselves. Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "The wise man does not speak, the talented man speaks, but the master is present, without needing either." And that presence is what separates men who understand mindset shift from men from those who keep chasing without ever catching. If you found this valuable, save this video right now, because you'll want to come back to these 5 skills every time you feel yourself slipping back into old patterns of chasing, seeking approval, or losing your masculine edge. By now you understand the 5 internal skills that naturally create female attraction psychology. These aren't tips or tricks you perform once and forget. These are the foundations of masculine energy mastery, the kind that transforms how women experience you at every level. Women desire the man who leads himself first, who doesn't need her validation to feel whole, who creates order in his own life before inviting her into it. And when you embody these skills after 60, intimacy stops being something you chase and becomes something she craves. Which of these 5 skills do you need to work on most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button if this changed how you think about attraction, and subscribe to my channel for more wisdom on love and relationships after 60. You can check out the resources in the description for deeper training on magnetic masculine behavior. And I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.